Welcome to Becoming Cancer Free, the 7 simple, effective, and proven steps to take back control of your health. This is a 9-module masterclass where you will learn scientifically validated methods and strategies I've learned over the past 15 years from hundreds of world-leading experts and cancer conquerors to help you embody a cancer-free lifestyle. I'm Nathan Crane, and I'll be your host and your trainer for this masterclass. I'm truly honored that you're here with me, and I promise that our time together will be valuable and effective. This 9-module masterclass is designed to help you navigate the complexity of cancer and all the causes, physiological functions, scientific research, and healing modalities that can accelerate your healing in the most simple and easy to follow blueprint I can make possible. Now, I know this is a huge promise, and I truly appreciate the value of your time as well as your commitment to spend time together with me over these coming modules to truly help you take back control of your health. And let's be clear, I'm not promising that by going through this masterclass, you're guaranteed to reverse cancer. I think we both know that's a promise nobody can make, not even the best oncologists in the world. But what I am promising is that by the time we're done with this 9-module class, you will be exponentially more informed, educated, inspired, and equipped to make effective changes that can transform your life and your health forever, with the ultimate goal of being able to add more years to your life and add more life to those years. How's that sound? And hey, if in the process you're able to completely reverse cancer, just like Elaine Gibson, Chris Wark, and Dr. Veronique Desanier, all of whom I've spent a lot of time interviewing them, learning from them, learning how they were able to reverse multiple forms of cancer, including stage 4 cancer, then it's an added bonus and something we will celebrate together. The truth is, for most people, cancer is incredibly scary. They're afraid of it being a death sentence. They're told they have 6 months or a year or maybe 2 years left to live. They might be told that without surgery or chemotherapy or radiation, their odds of surviving are slim to none. But I'm here to tell you that those scary prognostic methods are not for your well-being, and they're not based in all the facts either. As Dr. Francisco Contreras says in my award-winning documentary film titled Cancer, the Integrative Perspective, he says, we're taught in medical school to give the worst-case scenario as a prognosis for one main reason: to prevent us from being sued. Think about that for a moment. They're not taught to inspire you, give you hope, teach you all of your alternative options, some of which are actually more effective than conventional medicine as proven by science. They're taught to give you the worst case scenario so if and when you die, you or your family can't sue them. It's crazy, I know, but it's the world we currently live in. Medical doctors might have good hearts and good intentions, and even some great equipment for treating acute traumas like ruptured organs, gunshot wounds, or severed limbs. But when it comes to chronic diseases, it's well known in the holistic health field and very well understood scientifically that medical doctors simply are not trained in treating chronic diseases like cancer. As Dr. Lee Erin Keneally, who's an integrative MD, told me when I was filming her for my documentary, she said, "We're taught in medical school how to diagnose, how to do surgery and pharmacology, how to prescribe drugs, and yet we're only taught a few hours, 4 hours to be precise, of nutrition." Even though every cancer organization on the planet, as well as most medical doctors, all know that majority of diseases we experience today are a direct result of lifestyle choices impacted substantially by nutrition or lack thereof. And in all their years and hundreds of hours of training, they receive about 4 hours of nutrition or holistic health training. You know how much time I've spent studying nutrition and holistic health so far in my life? 15 years so far. I've spent thousands of hours, not 4, literally thousands, researching, experimenting, and interviewing hundreds of experts in nutrition, health and healing, and neuroscience, and quantum physics, cellular rejuvenation, the science of exercise, spirituality, epigenetics, personal transformation, on and on. And I can tell you, I still don't have all the answers. But I do have foundations, principles, and strategies that can help you take back control of your health. And the truth is, what we're going to discover together during this masterclass goes way beyond what our medical doctors have been taught up until this point. As Thomas Edison once stated, the doctor of the future will give no medication, but will interest his patients in the care of the human frame, diet, and in the cause and prevention of disease. Unfortunately, medical doctors have not been taught the cause and prevention or even reversal of most chronic diseases. They're great at diagnosing disease, treating acute traumas, utilizing some life-saving antibiotics from time to time, maybe like penicillin, and prescribing medications that unfortunately just mask symptoms. But we all know what happens when someone is prescribed medication, especially when you're told it has devastating side effects. One drug turns into two. Two drugs turn into four, and before you know it, you're downing a handful of pills 3 times a day, every day for the rest of your life, dealing with a whole host of uncomfortable and painful symptoms, which are often worse than the original symptoms you had to begin with, or in many cases, with most stages of cancer, no original symptoms at all. And even antibiotics can get heavily overused and overprescribed, causing damage to the healthy microflora in your intestines, harming your immune system, when other natural solutions that are well studied and well understood, like garlic, onion, high-dose vitamin C, vitamin D, cayenne, zinc, echinacea, prebiotics, and probiotics together can do a better job not only helping eliminate things like bacterial and viral infections, but also helping build the immune system without damaging healthy cells and help your body do what it's designed to do and get rid of cancer. But please understand, this is not about bashing on medical doctors. You know, if I were in a car crash, had a severed limb or a ruptured organ, for example, believe me, I would be in the ER as quick as anyone. But when it comes to health and healing, especially chronic health challenges like cancer, and I'm saying most, not all, but honestly, most medical doctors don't have the tools needed to actually help prevent or reverse those diseases. And that's true with bacterial and viral infections as well. Antibiotics and prescription drugs may help kill the pathogens, but they don't do anything to help support the most powerful resource in your body that has the potential to eliminate just about every infection, as well as reverse and eliminate metabolic lifestyle-related diseases like cancer. With that said, there are a number of very effective and incredibly knowledgeable medical doctors who realized at some point in their careers that the form of medicine they were practicing was not actually helping people heal. They realized through some miracle of grace that the profession they so dearly loved was run by pharmaceutical companies, and they weren't actually helping people heal from diseases like cancer, diabetes, and autoimmunity. They somehow stumbled upon research or some eye-opening case studies, or maybe they attended a conference or summit I produced or others have produced over the years, or read a magazine or watched a documentary like the ones I've produced over the years as well, and it began to open their eyes and send them down the path of intense research into natural, holistic, and integrative medicine. These doctors discovered that through a more holistic approach, they could actually help their patients not only understand the true causes of their disease and eliminate those causes from their lives, but also go beyond the symptoms of the disease to improve the true healing capacity of the human body and get extraordinary results. Many of them completely changed their approach in their practices and began guiding their patients through the most effective cancer-fighting diets and exercise, utilizing high-dose nutritional therapeutics, dealing with and healing the underlying emotional trauma and neurological conditions and belief systems, and implementing immune-enhancing practices that help the body to fully heal itself. They started seeing miraculous results, patients stopping the growth of cancer in their bodies and reversing other chronic diseases along with it. Not only reversing cancer in some cases, but at the same time using non-toxic medicine, not only extending the length of their lives, but improving the quality of their lives exponentially. These are the doctors I've actively been seeking out since 2013 and interviewing them, researching their methods, visiting their clinics, studying their patients, and learning everything I possibly could about the true causes of cancer, the most effective cancer treatments that are non-toxic, and what each of us can do to prevent and reverse cancer so we no longer have to be afraid of it. So why am I so passionate about helping people prevent and reverse cancer, especially since I haven't gone through cancer myself? Well, in 2013, after visiting my grandpa in southern Arizona, sitting there watching him suffer in tremendous pain, I mean, just so much pain, he couldn't even get up to go to the bathroom without just, acute pain, and watching him suffer was just like, it's terrifying. And, I'm sure you or someone you love has been through this, right? And what I realized in that moment was that he wasn't suffering from the cancer. He didn't have those symptoms from the cancer. He was suffering from the treatments of chemotherapy and radiation, as most people do. And then when he passed away shortly after that, I knew there had to be a better way. I mean, I felt so bad sitting there watching him suffer like that and not being able to do anything to help. Having been heavily involved in studying and experimenting with natural health, personal development, and various spiritual traditions since 2005, I thought at that point, I knew a lot about health and I should have been able to help him. That's kind of what was going through my mind. But I realized when seeing my grandpa go through that pain and suffering that I actually didn't know much about cancer at all. I felt afraid, I felt helpless, I felt hopeless, I think really like most people when it comes to cancer. I remember sitting there talking to him about fruits and vegetables and telling him, why don't you eat this diet that is known to help people to live longer and give you nutrition. And, I'd already been doing lots of juicing and cleansing and detoxing in my own life up to that point and studying health, primarily experimenting within myself just to get healthy because I was sick. I was, as a teenager, I grew up on fast food and toxins and chemicals and drugs and alcohol and all kinds of things that, made me sick growing up. And, but then changing my diet and lifestyle changed my life. And I remember sitting there mentioning this to him, and I remember him saying that his doctor told him he couldn't eat those foods that could actually help him because his immune system was destroyed from the chemical treatments, the chemotherapy, the radiation, and the bacteria on the vegetables could kill him, which to me literally made no sense at the time. And after I went back home with my wife and daughter, I decided I would never be in that position again. I decided I would do everything I possibly could to learn from people who've overcome cancer, who are treating cancer patients successfully, and who understand the deeper causes and solutions to cancer. So I, my family, or anyone else I come into contact with would never have to be afraid or helpless again. What I've discovered, and what you'll discover over the coming modules, is that cancer is a wake-up call. It's an opportunity to reevaluate your life from a new perspective and decide if the life you've been living is a life you want to continue living, or if you're ready to step up to a higher quality, happier, healthier, more passionate, more fulfilling, vital life that you truly deserve. What I've discovered is that everyone is capable of truly incredible things. And that's just not some rah-rah personal growth statement. I mean, seriously, watching people go from nothing, from homeless, from near death, from given only a month to live, to not only reversing cancer completely, but living decades past their so-called expiration date, their prognosis, and turning their life into something of incredibly meaning and value to themselves and others. I know with all my heart that everyone, including you, is capable of living a truly extraordinary life, and everyone is capable of overcoming any disease, even stage 4 cancers and beyond. Take Elaine Gibson, for example, a woman who I've known for quite a few years. Elaine is a grandmother now in her 70s, a teacher, an author, a 2-time cancer survivor, and the first time she reversed cancer in 2001, which was only at stage 1, she used an integrative approach. She used a combination of IPT and a complete diet and lifestyle change. But she didn't change everything, and cancer came back. When I interviewed her again recently for my Global Cancer Symposium 2.0, she shared with me that when cancer came back the second time, about 7 years later, it was stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And she was not only shocked, as you can imagine, but the doctor told her she would not see her grandchildren grow up. What a horrible thing to say to someone, right? Thank God she didn't take that prognosis as a fact. And over 10 years later, in the year 2020, I'm able to interview her not only healthier than she's been at 75 years young, but completely cancer-free. What you'll learn is that Elaine looked at her second cancer diagnosis as a wake-up call and an opportunity to learn more about the deeper causes of the disease and make more lifestyle changes that eventually led her to completely reversing stage 4 cancer. And one of the most important things she changed and learned to help her reverse cancer the second time, I'm going to share with you in depth in step 3 of this masterclass. What's also really interesting is that through more testing, Elaine found that she had a gene out of whack. And by using an integrative approach, Again, the second time, using the most effective diet, lifestyle, and holistic methods that you're going to learn during this masterclass, and finding a single pharmaceutical, not a ton of different ones, a single pharmaceutical to combine with her natural approach, she not only reharmonized her gene, but completely reversed stage 4 cancer and is still cancer-free as she's teaching and helping others find hope and healing through their journeys. And if you see Elaine, you'd agree with me that she looks like she's 55, not 75, and she has the energy and youthfulness of a much younger person. And at 75 years young, she's got so much more to give. Clearly, what she's done with her health and her life over the past 20 years has been working. And you're going to learn over the coming modules exactly what she and many others have done and are doing every day to prevent and reverse cancer using effective, natural, and integrative approaches. Now, if you're wondering whether cancer can truly be fully understood and even reversed in just 7 steps, then believe me, you're not alone. I'm here to tell you that cancer has been made so complicated and so misconstrued for one main reason. It's a multi-billion, really trillion-dollar business. In 2019, the cancer drug market alone reached over $167 billion, increasing at 10% or nearly 10% annually since 2015. $160 billion a year for cancer drugs. And do these drugs actually cure cancer?
In most cases, the answer is no. Chemotherapy, for example, being one of the most prescribed treatments for an oncologist today, in addition to radiation and surgery, has had the largest study ever done on a 5-year improvement of survival rate using chemotherapy across 22 major adult cancers, which studied over 72,000 cancer patients in Australia and more than 150,000 cancer patients in the USA. And the average improvement of the 5-year survival rate using chemotherapy was, take a guess, was it 65%? What about 45%? How about 35%? I mean, shit, if it's less than 35%, what are we doing here? Well, here's the truth. The 5-year total average survival rate improvement using chemotherapy on the 22 major cancers are 2.3% in Australia and a whopping 2.1% in the USA. Take that in for a moment. That's nearly a 98% failure rate with a multi-billion-dollar drug industry. Can you guess the highest rate of survival with chemotherapy? It was testicular cancer, coming in at just over 40%. And what do you think was the lowest rate? How many cancers came in at 0% improvement? 9. 9 forms of cancer came in at 0% improvement using chemotherapy. That includes prostate cancer, kidney cancer, bladder cancer, uterine cancer, and more. With a 2.1% effective rate, that means chemotherapy across most cancers has nearly a 98% failure rate at improving 5-year survival. If your doctor told you that your treatment was 98% likely to fail at improving your 5-year survival rate, would you do it? Probably not. But they prescribe this treatment every single day. How often? In the USA alone, over 650,000 people are prescribed chemotherapy every year. Not only does chemotherapy not work for most cancers, but it destroys the immune system, making it harder to combat infections that often lead to death. And it's well documented and well understood that chemotherapy does not kill the cancer stem cells. Now, what about cancer survivors and the cancer survivor rate? Well, here's the kicker. Being a cancer survivor, from the current medical term, doesn't actually mean that you overcome cancer. Let's say, for example, some cancers have a 40% survival rate using a combination of radiation and chemotherapy. Do you know what survival actually means when said by an oncologist? It means that you live past 5 years after being diagnosed. And that doesn't matter if those years due to treatment were the worst years of your life, and it doesn't matter if you die one day after 5 years, you are still considered a cancer survivor. If the treatments were actually effective, they wouldn't need to set the bar so freaking low. A true cancer survivor, in my opinion, and from my definition, is someone who has cancer one day, and after whatever protocols they follow, they get their scans back and they no longer have cancer and they remain cancer-free for the rest of their life.
That's the way it should be, right? But because the medical conventional therapies are so ineffective, remember, a 98% failure rate with majority of cancers using chemotherapy, they have to set their standards so low. And just like my grandpa, who went from being fairly active not very healthy, but still active, to being in so much pain and suffering from the chemotherapy and radiation and then dying from it, that is the unfortunate truth that most people experience today. And if they do miraculously live past 5 years from their diagnosis using conventional methods, the cancer either has not gone away completely and it can continue to spread until it does become a real problem, or it comes back with a vengeance, as has happened to many people I've interviewed over the years. So please know, I'm not saying you shouldn't use conventional medicine. In fact, I'll actually tell you the opposite during this masterclass. You should use conventional medicine, but only, and this is a big only, if you understand the true consequences of it, you know your true potential survival rate, and you do everything else I share with you over the coming modules to strengthen your immune system and take back control of your health so your body has the best fighting chance at surviving. But I don't want you to just survive. And if I were to make a guess, I'm guessing you don't only want to survive either. I'm guessing you're like me and you want to thrive. You want to live a healthy, happy, meaningful life. You want to continue growing, learning, contributing, and enjoying life for years to come, even if it's the later years of your life, but still enjoying those years with health and vitality and clarity of mind, right? Well, that's exactly what this masterclass is about. It's about helping you not only add years to your life, but make your years ahead the best years yet. How's that possible, you might ask? It's exactly what I'll share with you in step 1, which is to take back your power. Taking back your power is about accelerating your healer within. It's about self-responsibility and self-empowerment. You'll discover that cancer doesn't have to be a death sentence, and that while there are many paths to healing, there are simple and proven foundations that as long as you build upon these foundations, everything else that can be beneficial to your healing path will be supported by these foundational elements. But you got to get the foundations right. You got to make sure your foundation is not only strong, but accurate. If you build a skyrise tower on top of sand, it's going to fall and crash pretty quickly, right? But if you build a skyrise tower on top of cement, it's going to be strong. But if you got the wrong blueprints, then you're going to end up with a leaning tower of Pisa. So in steps 2 through 6, we're going to help you build a rock solid foundation so you can build your tower, your future, no matter how many years that is, on top of a strong solid surface. So the higher you grow, the stronger, healthier, and happier you'll become. The truth is, once cancer is fully understood what it is, how it works, how and why our bodies make it, and what we can do to prevent cancer cells from growing and spreading, it's actually quite a very simple thing. And that's my job, my passion, to make something so complex like cancer, a multi-billion, even trillion-dollar industry filled with unethical nonprofit organizations and cancer walks to find the cure, most of whom are putting billions of dollars into drugs that do very little towards actually finding a cure other than lining the pockets of pharmaceutical companies with billions and billions of dollars. My job and my passion, if you can tell, I'm passionate about this subject, is to simplify all of the complexities into a formula of foundations and principles that anyone can follow. So, is it possible that cancer can be fully understood and even reversed in only 7 steps? The short answer is absolutely, and I'll prove it with hard science, anecdotal healing stories, and direct testimony from the leading minds in the fields of cancer and healing and preventing cancer over these coming modules. And before we dive into the 7 steps, there's something every cancer patient needs to come to terms with. And I need you to understand that this next part is coming from love, from integrity, humility, and from personal experience. And that thing I really believe every cancer patient needs to come to terms with is death. The reality is, one day we're all going to die. I know, dark, right? But it's the truth. It's the truth we all have to accept if we're truly going to live. William Wallace, one of Scotland's greatest heroes who led the Scottish forces to successfully become free from England's tyrannical rule, once said, "Every man dies, but not every man really lives." I would add to that, every woman dies, but not every woman really lives. Once we accept the fact that we're going to die, we come to terms with it, whether you believe in heaven or hell or in reincarnation or believe in nothing at all. The truth is we're all here to die, but even more so, I believe we're all here to live, to truly live, to live with joy and happiness, to live with health and vitality, to enjoy the simple beauties in nature and the laughs of our grandchildren. To contribute to society in a meaningful way and to lie on our deathbeds, having learned from our mistakes, peacefully reflecting back on our lives, saying to ourselves, I truly am grateful for the life I lived. I have made the world a better place, if even only for my children, my grandchildren, or for my neighbors, or for those I don't even know. I know I contributed in some meaningful way. As Hunter S. Thompson so famously wrote, life should not be a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely in a pretty and well-preserved body, but rather to skid in broadside in a cloud of smoke, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, wow, what a ride. I want to lie there in my deathbed saying, I squeezed out every ounce of life possible and enjoyed so much of it, helping guide others from the dark to the light, having loved and been loved, having appreciated and been appreciated, having learned and grown mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, and contributed in some meaningful way to others. I believe these want to be the thoughts of every dying person, knowing that the next life, the one beyond this, will be just as good, if not better. Science tells us that energy never dies. And what are we made of? 100% energy. They say energy never dies, it only transforms, right? While our bodies transform into food for microbes and compost for the soil and brings new life through the earth, I truly believe our spirits transcend into another dimension, one that is free from the limitations we experience here on earth. And I truly believe all of our spirits transcend into a place that is free from pain and suffering. Now, whatever you believe happens after this life, we need to come to terms with it and remove the fear from our minds and be appreciative and fulfilled in the life we lived here, letting go of our regrets and enjoying the years we have left on this earth. And if you can't lie on your deathbed yet with those thoughts of deep gratitude and inner joy and personal fulfillment, then you still got some work to do. And I believe we've all still got work to do. I truly believe that you are still here on this earth for a reason. Whether you have 5 years left or 50 years left, there's still so much more you can get from and give to this beautiful thing we call life. Of course, I can't or won't promise you that you will cure your cancer and live your best years yet, or that you'll overcome your disease and live another 20 or more years like others have done. But what I can promise you is that if you take to heart and really learn and fully commit and implement what you're going to learn through all 9 modules of this masterclass, that you will have a significantly higher chance of not only slowing your cancer growth, but potentially reversing it altogether. And at the very least, discover a healthier, happier, and more fulfilled side of yourself that you might have never experienced before, or maybe you've been missing for a long time. As Dr. Thomas Lodi, a dear friend and colleague of mine who's a world-renowned holistic medical doctor with clinics from Arizona to Thailand, says, when people come to me, they're not really asking, how do I get rid of cancer? They're asking, how do I stop making cancer? And that's what you're going to learn, how to stop making cancer. And with the science that supports these methods, the action and discipline you implement moving forward, and a little bit of grace, we could potentially catch your cancer in time to not only add years to your life, but add more quality, joy, and fulfillment to those years as well. No matter where you're at in your healing journey, whether you're just starting down this path or you've been at it for years, I promise that you will learn empowering methods and strategies that you can start implementing immediately to support you on your healing journey. In step 1, which is module 2, you're going to learn a powerful technique that will help your mind begin taking back the power it's given away so it can direct your body to activate its own innate healing response. Whether you decide to go through the entire masterclass back to back, or if you own it so you can go through it again and again and again, just know every moment you delay your healing and delay making the changes necessary to support your healing, and every moment you waste living a life that is unfulfilling and unhappy is a moment you can't get back. But here's the good news. You don't have to rush into any treatment or healing protocol. You can take the time to truly learn what options you have and get additional advice before making huge and potentially life-altering decisions. There are small things you'll learn that you can begin implementing immediately, and other things that you want to take more time with, right? But the truth is, cancer has been growing inside your body for years, even decades for a lot of people, and even if you're, in the late stages of cancer, your decision-making process still needs to be a bit more urgent, but you still have time to learn and make informed decisions for your health, because one wrong decision in your treatment protocols, such as surgery, radiation, or chemotherapy, could literally mean long-term health consequences or even death. So before you choose big decisions like that, inform yourself of all the options and inform yourself of all the consequences, both positive and negative, before deciding. Spend the time really studying these modules, consulting with the experts I recommend, and following through with your own research, your own reasoning, and your intuition as you move forward. The truth is, so many people take one thing they hear as absolute fact without digging deeper or sitting quietly and listening to that inner voice. Your inner voice, when coming from a place of calmness and certainty, can be one of the best guides in your life. And if you've already gone down the path of conventional treatment without much success, and you're ready to try a more natural, effective, and integrative approach, then these foundations and principles and methods are exactly what are going to help you along in your journey. Over the coming modules, I will not only share with you what is working and what has been working in the advanced fields of neuroscience, integrative oncology, quantum physics, physiology, and botanical therapeutics, but I will share with you the step-by-step approach to living your healthiest, happiest, and most fulfilling life, even while having cancer. Believe it or not, that's what we're going to do in this masterclass. So as one of my mentors, the late Jim Rohn, used to say, if you're ready, say, I'm ready. Are you ready? If you're ready to take back control of your health, take serious action every day towards your healing journey, be fully committed to the process, take to heart everything you'll learn over the coming modules, and follow through with the 7-step plan I will lay out for you, then you can take back control of your health, and I'm here to guide you along the way. So, if you're ready, let's begin. It's time for step number 1.